apologies about last week. I had a personal emergency.
Are we allowed to say why?
Of course. I mean,
you can say it. Go say it. Say it.
Anyway,
it's a humble brag.
With us today on the program.
Explain it.
You want to say it?
Queen of Quinoa, David Freeberg, Chamath Palihapitiya, the dictator, and the Rain Man himself, David Sachs. I was on a world tour.
No. Come on. Just...
I'll tell the story. Obviously, I don't like to talk about a certain friend of mine because he's very high profile. And I don't talk about it in public.
Just flex. Just flex.
Just do it and move on.
I have been lifting. I just want to let people know the gun show's back.
No, you were backstage at SNL helping Elon with the SNL appearance. Were you not?
This is true.
Tell us what that was like. Tell us about the backstage experience at SNL.
Tell us about the backstage experience. I mean, we were living it out in real time with you guys, but tell us what it was really like.
First, tell us why Elon recruited you to do it.
All right, so...
Are you Elon's funniest friend?
Arguably. Well, I mean, he's got a lot
guys, hold on. Don't you remember the joke at Sachs's roast 5 years ago? Remember when Elon was late and I had that ad-lib joke? There were two jokes that I landed at Sachs's thing, which I thought were the two fun. No, Jason, my thing. When I was being roasted? No, wait, was it Jason's party? Sachs. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I hosted Jason's roast.
That's right. That's right. It was your roast. It was your roast. Yeah. Anyways, okay, go ahead. You're the funniest
Otherwise known as the funniest night of...
all of our collective lives.
Yes, it was really funny. Oh my God,
that was really funny.
We'll have to tell stories from that sometime.
Sometime we'll tell the J. Cow roast.
You probably are Elon's funniest friend and have a talent for writing. Let's not beat around the bush.
You do. Let's not beat around the bush.
Okay, so let's thank you. I'll take the compliment. So I left to go on a little trip to go to Austin to see some friends, and then Miami to see some friends. One of those friends who I hooked up with and was hanging out with in Miami was obviously Elon, and he was doing Saturday Night Live, and we were just coming up with ideas around the dinner table, and we were just laughing our asses off, just brainstorming ideas that would never be allowed on television, and he said, "Hey, would you come with me to Saturday Night Live?" And I was like, "Oh, that's great. Do you have enough tickets?" I assumed he meant Saturday night, and he said, "No, I don't have a lot of tickets. It's COVID. It's like half his money. Would you come with me to the writer's room and just, be my wingman, basically?" So I had like 3 or 4 board meetings and 5 podcasts. So I just, I talked.
So it was like an instant yes.
So I talked
you checked your schedule. I was like, you had to check your schedule.
Yeah. I did have to check my schedule. No, I mean, I take my work seriously.
You're like, so Elon, can you give me about half a second to decide?
Well, I had already made the decision in my mind that if my friend needs help, you guys have been in similar situations where you've asked me for help. I've rolled with Chamath on speaking gigs or going down to try to, save Sachs from going into complete utter madness. And,
oh my God!
In Cabo.
This was not crisis management. Anyway, so you said yes, you went.
So I said yes, and without giving without giving away anything that was private or confidential, they have a process that they've been doing for 46 years. And we came in, with our own process of what we wanted to do. And it kind of was, kind of an interesting thing because a lot of the ideas I had were, let's just say, a little too far out for the cast or for the writers, but some of them landed. And I got to spend a lot of time with Lorne Michaels, and I really worked on my impersonation of him.
He's Canadian.
And I was like, "So Lorne, tell us, who were the worst hosts ever?" And he's like, "It's an interesting question, Jason. We don't like to think of it that way, but in terms of people who thought they were smart and maybe were not as smart as they thought they were, Steven Seagal was a little bit difficult, and
what a safe choice. That's a very safe choice.
There was Chris Christopherson, back in '78. He wasn't the musical guest. That was Carly Simon, and he liked to drink. And in this very green room in '78, he had a couple of drinks during the dress rehearsal. So we wheeled in some coffee, and like any sports team, when the game starts, we play the game. Sometimes
who was responsible for the Chad skit?
Okay, so Chad's an existing character, and that was a really amazing one to watch because we went to Brooklyn to a warehouse, and the production was incredible. And what the role I played, if I'm being totally honest, is to just be Elon's friend and be there with him, but also was that funny for you? Was that should I do that? Should I not do that? Because there are some
You were a punch-up man.
I was a punch-up guy. I wrote some lines without, taking anything away from the writers there who do the bulk of the work and the actors and the set designers. It is amazing to see what they do. Like we had to go through 40 scripts. And, when you read something in a script, it's kind of hard to know if it's funny. But then when you put Chloe or, Kate McKinnon or Colin Jost or Che or Mikey Day, like these people are phenomenally talented. So all of a sudden the script comes alive. But for the 2 punch-ups, I got really good. I'll just give you one anecdote because I don't want to get myself in too much trouble.
Were you responsible for Besties in the Gen Z hospital?
Don't comment on that one.
I thought that as soon as I saw it, I thought of you.
Yeah,
and then the other one that I thought was incredibly well done was Murder Dirter.
Okay, so I had nothing to do with that one, and we thought that one was incredibly dumb. Like when you read it on the script, it was like, is this funny or not? But this is the thing. You add tremendous performance and you add incredible set design. And we were in Brooklyn at 3 a.m. and Elon comes out with that wig on in a suit. And we just start laughing hysterical. And he just goes right into creepy priest. It was
great.
Hilarious. But
now, what about the Asperger's joke? Because
that was me.
Because you use that as a tease amongst people we may mutually know a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when I heard it, I was like, oh, that's a Jason joke.
So
that's a Jason joke.
That's actually what I'm proud of.
But what's so ironic? No, but what's so ironic is the Asperger's joke came out, and then all these press articles got written saying Elon has admitted publicly to having Asperger's, and we are so proud of him, and it is such a moment to come clean about having this thing. And it was like a Jason
Shocker.
joke this Jason joke that became a gosh, what a.
I'll tell you, I'm particularly proud of that one because here's how that one went down. They had an idea to do Jeopardy. And it was probably the flattest pitch because, it's like 11 o'clock at night. A writer comes in and says, we want to do Jeopardy auditions. And it's a kind of a feature for the cast to do auditions. I don't know if you ever saw the Star Wars auditions or the Jurassic Park auditions, kind of in that vein. So I was like, for me, I was like, oh, that sounds like it's got potential. But it was a very dry pitch. They didn't have any examples. And when they actually did it, it was like really weird characters that were obscure. So I had pitched my own version of Jeopardy and Elon had his version of Jeopardy. Elon's version of Jeopardy was Dictator Jeopardy, which was Kim Jong-un, MBS, Putin, et cetera. And then I was like, how to deal with your adversaries. And he was like, for 800. And he's like, plutonium. And I was like, genocide. And, it got really dark. And so we are laughing our asses about that. But then there were security concerns. Basically, we're kind of dialing this around. It would be as funny as it would be a direct correlation of funny to the chances of Elon being assassinated by one of those people. So then we decided maybe we don't do that one. And I said, I've got a great idea. Asperger's Jeopardy. And it would be Zuck, Elizabeth Holmes, which Chloe from the show, who's an absolute genius, incredibly sweet. And she really engaged deeply with Elon and connected with our team. And then obviously Elon. And so you'd have Elon playing Zuck, somebody playing Elon, and then Chloe playing Elizabeth Holmes. And they would be like, how to deal with an intense situation with an employee, and then presses it. Don't make eye contact. And so one of the writers, I could tell she was not happy about this. And she says, listen, my husband has Asperger's, my 2 brothers have Asperger's. And all of a sudden we're in okay, we
can't offend anyone land.
We can't offend anybody land. And I would say, 80, 90% of the staff is very, let's go for it. And then there's probably 10 or 20 who are very sensitive to different topics. And so there's a little navigation you have to do there. But we really want, and then so Elon goes, I have Asperger's. And, the whole room is like, wow. So then I was workshopping with somebody and I wasn't in the writer's room. I contributed 2%, that max, other than, being Elon's friend and supporting him. But, they came in and said, hey, when they didn't want to ask Elon something, they came to me. And I negotiated some situations. Like they didn't originally want to have any Doge father or any cryptocurrencies on the show. We had to negotiate that.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, no, they have general counsel there. They have standards. They're now on at 8:30.
Well, now we know why the show's not funny anymore. There's too many people with a veto.
I love the show. I think it's very funny.
Well, I mean, Elon made it culturally relevant for the first time in like a decade. But,
So they
but what you're describing is too many people with a veto right over the content of the show. That's what makes it not funny. You got to be willing.
No. I think the show is very funny. I think they take some artistic risk, and what's not funny to us might be like funny to some other folks. So that's why it's hit or miss. But certainly moving the show from 11:30 on the West Coast definitely has an impact. So what they could have done 10 years ago before the timing was synced between the West and East Coast is different. They're now on in prime time.
There's still a big cultural shift that's happened. It's like,
but anyway,
sexist, I'll
give you the two best moments.
It's not John Belushi anymore when the corporate CEO comes on the show and wants to do crazier, wilder stuff than the people, who are the regulars. But anyway, keep going.
So anyway, one of the folks who's working on the monologue, comes in, and the original monologue, all these things go from rough to potential to good to great to amazing. And so for me, it was, just you guys know my career choice. It just really made me think like, maybe I picked the wrong career choice because I'm pretty fucking good at this. I should do this. So I was talking to Colin at the after party. I was like, I've kind of made my money already. Is there any chance I can get an internship? He's like, no.
But it's okay, Jason. You can always take credit for being the third or fourth writer on Elon's monologue.
Perfect.
Forever.
Exactly. That'd be great. So anyway, they're doing they said they wanted to do an Asperger's joke. I said, so I wrote the Asperger joke of, hey, I just want to let people know I've got Asperger's, and so there's not going to be a lot of eye contact tonight. So if you see me looking off screen, it's not that I'm looking at cue cards, it's just that I have Asperger's. So they didn't keep the cue card part, but they kept the rest of it. And then they did the OJ joke, which was written by Colin Jost, who is absolutely phenomenal as a human, just as a writer and a collaborator. And we spent a lot of time with Colin Jost. He came in and they had this joke about OJ having been on in 79 and 96. The 96 was a joke. He wasn't actually on in 96. I think that's when he went to jail or something. And I said to him, I don't think people understand the joke. They actually think he was on in 96. He goes, well, let's just rehearse it. So we're in the green room rehearsing it. And Elon goes, so hey, and like OJ, like I'm smoking weed on every podcast. That's like saying OJ, he murdered once and now he's a murderer forever. Side note, he was on in 79 and 96. And I just go like this, and he killed both times. And the room, there's like a silence, and then everybody goes hysterical. It's like one of my, poker asides.
Yeah,
when I drop a joke and I take a sip of my wine.
That's fabulous.
So I drop it.
I bet there was like a split second where everyone looks left and right. It's like, is it okay to laugh?
No, that's my point. Like, is it okay to laugh at this?
Yeah.
And Colin Jost just looks at me and goes, that's getting in there. And so I landed that one. So there were, some moments like that. For me, I tell you, I'll get emotional talking about it. It's one of the happiest times I've ever seen in Elon's life, and I've been with him for 20 years. Actually, I've known him for 25, obviously. In the feeling of Monday and Tuesday that, oh my God, this could be a complete, utter disaster. I mean, that was our fear. And that like, we're just not in sync here. And maybe it's going to be unfunny, and this is a huge mistake. Like that was kind of our vibe from our squad. And we had three of us there, including Elon. And then, the Asperger jokes lands, and I tell you, a woman from wardrobe comes in and she's crying. She's crying. And she says, she sees me first, and she had been there when we were doing the joke, and she said, my son, was beat up for having Asperger's, and, this changes everything.
Wow.
Just
so it became like a serious thing.
3 or 4 people came in to the room, I kid you not, crying.
Oh my God.
Because 1 in 20 boys, I think, now have Asperger's.
Do you guys remember In Living Color? Do you remember that show from the early 90s?
Yes. Oh my God.
Can you juxtapose like comedy today and comedy from In Living Color, where they had like Damon Wayans as like the homeless guy, and like everything that would be so like non-PC today and like totally inappropriate, and how much things have shifted where like even the joke becomes like, a serious kind of...
Can I ask a question? Sorry, Jason, when people were getting emotional, it was because of why? They were like, thank you for validating it, putting it out there and showing a role model? Is that it?
One of the Squawk Alley guys, basically got choked up twice on Monday. And he said, Elon can do no wrong in my mind now because I'm dealing with a son who has Asperger's, and they do something sometimes that can be very challenging as a parent, right? And it explains a lot about, and we all know people who have Asperger's, David's, and we know people who have it further on the spectrum. And
as someone who's been accused of being on the spectrum, can I speak to this issue? I mean,
yes.
look, if anything, Asperger's is correlated with an extreme ability to focus and to be successful. That's why there's so many people in tech who have Asperger's or have been accused of having Asperger's. So I don't know that it's something that people have to be, I guess, unless you have like an extreme case, like on the kind of in the autistic part of the spectrum. But like mild Asperger's probably is correlated with success because it's like the opposite of ADD, right? It's an extreme ability to focus. But honestly, like what you're describing to me sounds so lame. Like this is why the show's not funny anymore. It's not about the jokes. Look, it should be about the jokes.
I disagree 100%. That joke landed. It made everybody laugh. It may have landed a little too close to somebody.
Hold on, guys, just to disinterest. The reason, David, you're saying this is because we all know, at least the three of us, four of us, what did not make it and what's on the cutting. That's why you're saying it. And so I think you have to just kind of move on.
I can't say what didn't make it to the cutting room floor, but I will tell you what, I will reveal one skit that made it to rehearsals.
You cannot.
I can. It's just one. I mean, there was one they recorded, which I think will come out as a digital short. And the premise is FOMO capital, fear of missing out capital.
That was good.
And
that was a good one.
That was your idea or Elon's?
I'm trying to remember where it originated. We were just talking about, just the state of like people buying NFTs and everything. And I think Elon may have said like they all have FOMO. And then I was like, yeah, I'd be like a venture capital firm and then he named it FOMO Capital. So it was a little bit of a collaboration, but I think mostly Elon in that one. And this person comes in and the skit is hilarious. So they're probably going to release it as a digital short, like cut for time, but release it. And the person comes in and there's like an associate who's being trained. And they're like, welcome to FOMO Capital, where we never say no to nothing. And he's like, okay, I don't know if I understand that. Like, sit down, you'll get the hang of it. And then people come in with increasingly ridiculous ideas. And I'll just tell you one of them, which was a woman comes in, goes, so you guys know Impossible Meats? This is Impossible Vegetables. These taste just like vegetables, but this broccoli is made with endangered white rhinos. And she takes a bite of it. Tastes just like broccoli. And Elon goes, this is amazing. And they hand them a Picasso. And then somebody comes in and says like, oh, blah, 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 blah. It's just hilarious. It's just more money being
Why didn't that get in the show?
Well, what they do is they do a 2-hour show with a live audience and they just take out 2 or 3 skits. And so there were 3 skits, I think, that were taken out for time. And then those could be released digitally now. So they just want to have extra.
They did a long opening. They did I think it was like 10 minutes on the Mother's Day
one. Yeah.
Can I just say Miley Cyrus has the most incredible voice. Oh my God. I could listen to her sing
forever.
She has got an incredible voice.
So I was,
I thought the opening was really shaky. I mean, I was there. This is the first time I've watched live TV in like 10 years, ever since Apple TV was invented. I'm sitting there waiting for Elon to come out and crush the monologue. And then Miley Cyrus does this long, unfunny thing with all these mothers. It's great,
It's meant to be heartwarming.
First of all, David, it's not a thing. It was a song. But that's
called a song, David.
It was a WTF moment for me. I was like, where is Elon? Bring out Elon. I am not here to see a bunch of mothers. I mean,
that's an interesting. I'll tell you, that was an interesting moment, David, because they were like, Elon, we'll put you in like 4 of the skits out of the 7, and Elon, we don't want to work, Elon too hard. So I was doing these sort of sidebars with some of the producers. One in particular who is just a phenomenon. She's an amazing producer who just gets everything done, because this all occurs from Monday to Saturday and they work 16, 18 hours a day. And, she said, we don't want to take up too much of his time. So we think 4 is the right number. And I said, he gave up the week. He's the busiest guy in the world, arguably. He wants to be in every skit. And she's like, well, nobody really does that. Maybe a comedian here or there. And Elon just said, if I'm here, use me. I want to be in every skit. And like, we had to like reshuffle the deck a bit, and he was willing to do anything, including Wario or, wear a costume or be the creepy priest. Elon was funny.
I think he surprised everyone in terms of being a performer, just in terms of his performance. I think it was really strong. It was as good as someone who's in the entertainment business would be, I think.
I think that's even a universal take.
Yeah, exactly. It's a universal take. Even Elon's sort of haters had to concede that he performed well. He kind of committed to all those roles, even when it was like poking fun at himself.
Yeah, I had to dunk on Professor Dummy Galloway, who was like, I'm going to live tweet Elon, and he's just like going on CNN talking about Elon. He's going on every fucking cable channel he can to like ride Elon's coattails. And he tweeted Tesla would lose 80-90% of its value 2 years ago. Like, just, are you kidding me? But I agree. Like, even someone like Professor Galloway, who said Tesla was worthless, he's now just all over it. And it humanized him, which is nice. I think
he did a great job.
Yeah.
And
it was fun.
I'm super happy for him.
Yeah, Lauren Michaels came in and said, Elon, you did a great job. Come back anytime. Sincerely. And I said, how about next year? Like, and
you're his agent. You're like his agent.
Like, basically,
what are we making a sequel?
And he's the punch-up guy. He's the agent. He's the hype man.
The negotiator. I was doing mostly negotiation, and Laura Michael said, absolutely, Jason, we'd love to have Elon back. You absolutely crushed it. And Elon's busy in the green room.
By the way, do we know what the ratings were?
Third best show of the season so far, I think, not counting all the YouTube views and the international views. I think Chappelle's the only person who beat him.
And look, I think a couple of those skits are going to live forever, I think, on YouTube. I mean, the Chad skit in particular was really hit it out of the park. By the way, my observation on the skits were the ones where Elon was kind of indispensable were like were really great. Like the Chad thing, and I thought that the Western one where Laron, where he plays this like 18th century Old West version of himself. It's like this genius in the Old West who's telling them to ride electric horses or something. Yeah. For me, that was really funny. So I thought the ones where Elon was sort of indispensable, the more indispensable Elon was to the skit, I thought the better it was. And then some of the skits, I mean, look, live sketch comedy is very hit or miss. I thought the ones that were more miss were the ones where they could have done them without Elon. It could have been a skit, any SNL. And it's kind of like, I think it's accurate. Yeah, it's like, why wouldn't you take advantage of having Elon there and
they did. And just to the staff, first off, I'm sorry I was such a ruckus and such a disruptor in the space. But really, I mean, what a great time! Elon had a great time. The after party was amazing.
Describe the after party. Were they wearing masks?
Ooh, that's a good segue. That's a good segue. That's
good. No, it was outside.
No,
I'll just leave it.
That's a good segue.
It was an outside party.